Kate, good evening, and thanks for your time. And let's go straight to these comments by Julius Malema saying that these publications should be treated as the enemy. What are the dangers of making such statements?
Well, the problem is that what you're wanting is for the media to be able to report without fear of failure. And you're wanting all citizens to be able to get as much information as possible. And when you have a situation where a political party, a very important political party, starts to say that the media is the enemy, then it means that citizens don't get the information that they need because certain groups of journalists are just not there at these particular events to be able to report in depth on the issues. And
when I say dangers, Kate, I mean, you remember the last time this happened and we had certain journalists like Karima Brown who were receiving threats. Their personal safety was threatened as well. So when you tell your followers that we must treat the media like an enemy, are we not endangering the lives, literally, of the people who work for these publications? Because whether the EFF sent a direct message to supporters to say, send Karima this message, or send Polly van Wyk that message, whatever it was, or make them frightened, or whether they didn't, your supporters are not going to see it that way.
No, and that's the issue, is that it's very dangerous to call people, different journalists the enemy and different publications the enemy, because then, of course, it's a whole group of journalists that work for those different publications that then are seen as the enemy. But I think also the other important point to make is it's also it's about citizens, because the problem is that if journalists start to get anxious and start to say, well, we're not going to cover these particular issues, or we're not going to cover these particular issues critically, then you're going to have a situation where citizens aren't going to get the information that they need. And I think that is what is absolutely essential for democracy.
Now, this happens to come after Scorpio published this expose on Malema and Floyd Shivambu and VBS and all of that. So, and if I was an ordinary citizen, not speaking as a journalist, I'd have to sit and wonder, rather than address or respond or challenge these reports, this is what you choose to do. It makes me think that you have something to hide.
Well, absolutely. And I think that's why a lot to hide. And it's a very strange tactic because what we've been basically saying to the EFF is, absolutely, if you think that this journalism is problematic, if you think that these reports are inaccurate, put out that information that counteracts that. Also, if you feel that you're being treated badly, go to the official channels, such as the Press Council and the Press Ombud, and make your statement, and let us actually go through those proper processes, and let's test what you're saying. But it just seems to be very strange not to want to go through the proper channels and not to want to test their allegations against the media.
How has SANEF dealt with the EFF and its issues with the media in the past?
So we've always wanted to have we do have an open door policy, and we've always wanted to meet with the EFF and constantly have discussions with them, because we feel it's very important for all political parties in the media to discuss issues and to have a cordial and professional relationship. The very big problem at the end of last year was that the EFF said they couldn't meet with SANEF all the way up until after the elections. And we had a number of problems because they had named particular journalists, and so then we felt that we had no option but to go to court. We didn't want to go to court. We felt it was very problematic that we were forced into that situation, but when we were told that we could not even discuss the issue until after the elections, we felt that we had no option.
So what do we do now? I mean, what do these journalists do? What do these publications do? What does SANEF do?
Well, in fact, we're having a council meeting, which is one of our most important decision-making meetings tomorrow, and we were going to have further discussions about it. But I think that there are a lot of issues that we need to discuss, such as solidarity. That other media houses then say, if you're going to ban certain media houses, well, then we all stand in solidarity with those particular media houses that have been banned. That's one option.
But it doesn't mean we won't stop reporting on it.
No, of course not. Yeah. But the issue is that we're also not, for instance, going to events. That's one option. That's one option. For instance, I know that Media Monitoring Africa is looking at legal options. So I think that those are the kinds of things that we need to discuss. But the issue for us is that ultimately we want to have meetings. We want to have, free communications and discussions. We don't want to have this standoff. We don't feel that that's healthy for democracy to have that standoff.
Okay, well, we'll probably like to catch up with you after that meeting then, and after you decide what the road ahead is. Thank you very much, Kate, and thanks for your time as well. SANEF Executive Director Kate Skinner there, just on this call by Julius Malema to ban certain investigative journalism units, and we'll hear more from one of them a little later on. But on the issue, eNCA's editor Jeremy Maggs says the channel is deeply concerned by the EFF's decision, as it is the beginning of a slippery slope towards the shutting down of democratic principles. Maggs has also strongly rejected rejected Malema's assertions that the channel manipulates stories in order to portray him as a gangster. You can read the full statement on eNCA.com.